Welcome to the Dividing Line on a Thursday afternoon, a little early today, but we like to keep you guessing, because if we did it all at the same time, it wouldn't be any fun. And we do this to try to make Red Goatee and Channel miss us and Wonky to continue to be crazy as he is. So it's just sort of how things work. Anyways, welcome to the program. Very quickly here at the beginning of the program, I would like to give you a little bit of a report on last evening's debate. And then we may be joined by just one of the biggest names ever at quarter after. We'll see how that happens this time of year, anyways. Important stuff going on. So make sure to stay tuned for about 15 minutes or so, even if you don't want to listen to what happened last evening. But most of you, I think, have heard the. Well, I don't know that. Some of you listened to the debate last night on Fighting for the Faith with Chris Roseborough, Pirate Christian Radio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, I remember when Chris contacted me a while back, said, hey, would you be willing to debate this Chris Pinto guy? He's put out this film, and he's saying Sinaiticus is a forgery. And I was like, well, all right. I really wasn't excited about doing it, but I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm very glad I had that opportunity. I am going to be telling you a little bit more about a pretty important multi-year project I'm going to be embarking on next year. And this was actually something I could do that's very relevant to preparation for that. So that was nice, I suppose. But I learned a lot. And I had to listen more than once to the entirety of a 3-hour alleged documentary, which really isn't a documentary. It's a propaganda piece, but that's okay. And I listened to all sorts of other stuff that Chris Pinto had to say on this subject, and that's fine too. That's how I prepare for debates. But mainly, I got to learn much, much, much more about the history of the finding of Codex Sinaiticus and its nature, and finally had a good reason to spend some time with Dirk Junken's book on the scribal habits of Codex Sinaiticus, and that's fascinating stuff. It's fascinating to me. I understand that what's fascinating to me is not necessarily fascinating to other people. But I'm going to tell you, from the first day I opened up my UBS 3rd edition corrected New Testament in first-year Greek, and I saw those notes at the bottom of the page, and I asked Dr. Mike Baird, my dear, poor Greek professor, who I had for 7 years. He had dark hair when we started, and he was pretty much bald by the time we got done. And I asked him what those notes were, and he explained to me that that's where the manuscripts differ in their readings. I knew. I was already studying Mormonism that time, and I just knew I've got to master this stuff. And so it's always been, to me, just fascinating. I mean, a relaxing evening for me, honestly, would be sitting back with and these days, either large print, or this is what I love now about my iPad, is over the past couple of years, finally, all the textual information. Well, almost all the textual information, including images of Sinaiticus and Vaticanus and Washingtonius and Alexandrinus and all the rest of this stuff, are available. And sitting back and examining textual variants and doing stuff like that to me which demonstrates I'm a lot weirder than you thought. But anyway, so this has been a subject that I have always. I just looked in Channel and one of our troublemakers in Channel, one of the people that's been kicked out more often than anybody else. Opt and de-opt more than anybody else. A very odd fellow by the name of Red Goatee says, I have no love for your cheesy chess clocks. I have no idea what that's about, other than I do have a beautiful chess clock in my office. I mentioned in a debate that I did once years ago with an open theist. I use some interesting debate analogies, don't I? I used a debate analogy in that debate with an open theist, and I had made this bid on a Heuer chess champion chess clock, which I had always wanted from the time I was a young teen. That was what was always on my Christmas list, and I never got it. And so I had to wait until I was, in my 40s, well, late 30s. And I finally found one on eBay, and I had to put in a a bid on it, and then I had to go to the debate. I couldn't do the sniping thing at the end, And I use it as an illustration in the debate. God knows whether I won that clock. I don't know, but God already knows. And then last night, the most famous example, it's going to be the only thing anyone remembers from the debate last night was at one point, Chris Pinto was basically saying, well, there are all these manuscripts at Mount Athos, and there's thousands of them, and people haven't seen them, and so no one can really know until you've examined every manuscript that Simonides could possibly have had access to, and all the rest of this stuff. And it was really amazing, and that was the context in which he was saying, "Do you know what's in Mount Athos? And do you know what manuscripts are?" I said, "Hey, the New Testament in Klingon could be at Mount Athos for all I know." And everybody, that's the one thing they're always going to remember is that I know something about Klingon New Testament. Now, I'm not as geeky as the people in channel who immediately started responding in Klingon. Okay, now that when you can respond in Klingon, that's definitely an indication of the geekiness of the people in that chat channel over there.
He asked that question, and I immediately thought, just before you answered that, which was way better, I thought, it's like a Mormon asking, is it possible that God came from a planet that circles a star named Kolob?
Is it possible that the golden plates, were taken back to heaven? And is it possible? I mean, it was the. And you think it may be possible, possible? Yeah, that was the argument last evening. But anyways, it was a. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I really did not know what to expect in the debate. I think Mr. Pinto did a good job for the position he was defending, which is a conspiracy theory. But conspiracy theories don't they don't stand up to cross-examination. And that's what happened during the cross-examination period, that half hour where we could actually ask each other questions. And really what it came down to was, and it was very, very interesting. As I pointed out, he never mentioned the word Jesuit during his entire opening statement. Now, anyone who's watched that film knows why that's significant, because what percentage of the film do you think, honestly, I doubt, and I could be wrong about this, but I doubt there's a 5-minute segment in the entirety of that film that does not have the word Jesuit in it. I really doubt it. I didn't go through and count this, but maybe someone who has absolutely nothing to do in life would like to do so. But I wonder how many hundreds of times the term Jesuit appeared in that film, but it was never mentioned once in the opening statement. So I can understand why he wanted to try to make the target as small as possible. But basically, as we got into the cross-examination, I presented my arguments on the antiquity of Sinaiticus, the evidence of that, the fact that you have multiple scribes, you have multiple hands in the corrections, and then I went for the sources. Now, what he had to do was, okay, the Moscow Bible, Codex Alexandrinus, but then there are these 3 other manuscripts, and we don't know anything about them. And all we don't even have Benedict's word on it. We only have Simonides' word on this. We're going to accept whatever Simonides says. And Simonides says that his uncle Benedict had these 3 manuscripts, which he had already collated and freed from errors. And I just, when he said it, I just knew that Mr. Pinto does not understand the field well enough to realize that he had just locked the door in his own position. Because he doesn't understand the process of collation of manuscripts. He doesn't understand what you have to do to examine textual variants, the amount of time that's involved. Especially, look, it's easier for us today. But especially in that context, in the 1839, 1840, the amount of time that it would take to literally collate. Now, and one of the interesting things is he didn't tell us whether these 3 manuscripts contain both Old and New Testament. That's extremely unusual. Extremely unusual. There are very few manuscripts that contain both, especially that are ancient manuscripts. But to collate all of the Old and New Testament, absolutely amazing. The amount of time, he just doesn't understand the amount of time that would be involved in that, and how it's just an amazing argument against his own position. But further than that, if his uncle had already done that, there would have been a standard that he would be using to free it from errors, and it would have been the Byzantine, not the Alexandrian text. And so there still isn't any way that the unique readings, the unique set of readings, the sometimes wild and sometimes completely off-base set of readings that can be found in the text of Codex Sinaiticus, especially from Scribe A, could have come from the sources that Simonides actually said that he used. And so I know that Mr. Pinto doesn't understand that. I know that he has invested a tremendous amount of time and energy and money and intellectual capital in this. And as I said in my opening statement, I would encourage him to truly consider investing his time in something much more beneficial. If he were to actually take the time to meet with people like Bible-believing, conservative, biblical scholars who engage against people like Bart Ehrman and things like that, he could do some wonderful stuff. But instead, he's got this, the Jesuits are behind everything type, this imbalanced view of Rome. And I will have to admit, the one thing that I really that did bother me about his comments was when he tried to say, I was just perfectly fair with Tischendorf. And I'm sorry. All you've got to do is watch the film. That's why I linked it on my blog. All you've got to do is watch the film and ask yourself the question, is this man being fair in his presentation? Look at how the actor who plays Tischendorf, look how he's acting. Look at the positions they put him in. Look at the aspersions they cast upon his character. It's just so painfully obvious. And so I'm asking him, don't you think you're a little biased here? Don't you think there's some prejudice here? No. It's and for some reason, Mr. Pinto seems to think that if it's in a book, then it's a documented fact. And as I pointed out, there's all sorts of things written down by Jack Chick and Alberto Rivera in books. Does not make them facts. So he has a rather loose view of what a documented fact of history is. So if someone in history writes a book where they state an opinion about something, well, that becomes a documented fact of history. Well, no, not really. That's not how it works. So hopefully the material was useful. It was a challenge for me in 15 minutes to even try to make sense of what the real issues are, and that is, what are the signs of antiquity in Codex Sinaiticus, what specifically in light of the claims that Simonides made. But I can understand why, if someone has no idea what the whole context was, never listened to the movie, why they'd listen to that debate and go, I don't really know what that was all about. But once you've watched the film, then maybe the debate would make some sense. But so I thank Chris Rosebrough for asking me to do it. I hope it lived up to his expectations. It was, I thought it ran rather smoothly. I had not done a debate in exactly that format before. But it went pretty well. So I'm thankful for that, and thankful for the opportunity of having engaged it. And again, it has been really good for me to do the study into Codex Sinaiticus. I think that will Sinaiticus. I'll say it right someday. It's just so natural. It's not natural to say Sinaiticus. It's just natural to throw almost a leveling vowel in there. It's really interesting. But Sinaiticus. And, of course, I had pronounced Simonides differently on the program before. But I changed it because I said, all right, wait a minute. I'm doing it in more of a Koine way. But he's in the modern period. So I would have to use modern Greek pronunciation here. So I checked how Dan Wallace did, and then I looked at the actual, I looked up Simonides online to see the Greek and pronounced it in the modern Greek. I can do modern Greek. I just don't, because I read Koine. So, and I still like the Erasmian pronunciation better than all you people who have abandoned Erasmian and gone to modern Greek, which is not nearly, I think, as explicit. Anyway, so there's a quick, I think we're eventually going to make it available. I mean, I have the nice high-quality file, so we'll figure out some way of making that available. But we've, of course, linked to it already on the Pirates website, so you can take a look at that and listen in if you would like. All right, with that, there is the report. And now, I don't remember the last time this happened, but I have connections. I have some really good connections. And so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get the big name. But I'm going to start off with the almost as... Okay, I'm going to start with someone else, actually. And so I want to introduce you all to a wonderful friend of mine, one of our most commonly known channel rats in Prosopologion, from the wilds of North Dakota, Clyde Bauman. Clyde, how are you today, sir?
Fine, thank you, Dr. White. So nice to be on with you.
It is good to have you on. Now, people are wondering now that voice sounds somewhat familiar, but I know it's just simply because of how much time you've spent with certain important people that maybe even your voices have coalesced. But before we get to that, now, Clyde, you have, how long ago was it now that you put out Prairie Memories?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Now,
yes.
Let me tell folks, I think at some point, and maybe you can remind me because you'd probably remember this better than I would, I think I have played, if I recall correctly, I think I played the real heart-tugging song on this particular CD of yours.
Ooh, there's my picture on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I don't even get to see that. I'm going to have to go back and look at the YouTube thing to see this. But
good thing I wore a tie.
I think I played at one point in the past the song "Bed by the Window."
Okay.
At some point, but I'm not sure if I have played some others. Now, you're out there in, I guess, in real prairie land, in the farm, the northern part of the Farm Belt, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it's pretty much all farmers who settled this. At least most of the Dakotas. The western parts are somewhat more ranching, but the eastern parts are all farm, and we kind of just a continuation of what happens in Minnesota and Iowa and parts of Nebraska.
Now, how far away from Broken Bow, Nebraska would you be? Have you ever heard of that?
I've been to Broken Bow, Nebraska.
You have?
Yeah, well, over the years, I've done programs about everywhere you can think of. Yeah, 500 miles.
About 500 miles.
Because straight south, pretty much.
That's, I'm not sure if I've ever shown you the picture. Well, we actually haven't had the opportunity of meeting yet, even though we talk every single day, basically.
Because I live so far away.
That's part of the reason, yes. I think I've shown, maybe in Channel or something, the picture, the first picture I have of my ancestors is my great-great-grandfather being held as a baby in there's just nothing there but a mud hut, basically, in Broken Bow, Nebraska. They had just come over from Scotland, and they had settled there in Broken Bow, Nebraska. So my ancestors were out there in the plains. I spent most of my summers well, not all of my summers, but visiting Kinsley, Kansas. So I know what it's like to be in a flat area. But that's a little bit farther south. You're up there where it's been really cold already, hasn't it?
It has been for a while, yeah. It's pretty nice today. Actually, we got everything's messy because we're melting today. Right.
We
had a one-day break in the weather.
Well, enjoy it while you can, I suppose. But now, so you also have on this CD not only music from the prairies and the I had never even heard, and let me just play a segment here, if I could. I had never heard of the Lord of the Rolling Hills. Now, is that a song that people up there would be more likely to know, or is this something you researched, or how'd you come up with it?
A few of the songs I programmed for the album are from a modern cowboy group titled. Their name is Sons of San Joaquin. They're referring to the San Joaquin Valley in California, and this is two brothers and then the son of one of them. So it's a three-man group, and they're a modern cowboy group. They're all actual cowboys. Oh,
you mean like?
Yep, they have cattle ranch where they are.
So they're real cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so as a salute to our ranching tradition here in the Dakotas, is this album Prairie Memories, subtitled "Songs of Home, Life, and Faith," and I I wanted to program songs that talk about who we are and where we came from, the distinguishing values of our part of the country here.
Well, let me just fire this up here real quick so people can hear some of it.
Lightning flashing, followed by a burst of thunder, and the whole world sings as my soul takes wings in praise to the Lord of glory. To the Lord of the rolling hills, I'll sing my jubilation. To the Lord of the rolling hills, He's the Lord of all creation. To the Lord of the rolling hills.
Now, that's the kind of music you expect to hear, out west in that exact area. But got to ask you, how did this fit in with that?
It's by far the hardest thing I've ever done.
Now there you got a little JD going.
John Denver. I only put that on there for you, Dr. White.
I wonder.
No, it's a great folk song. I've liked it for a long time, and I think it's a real good, honest expression of love.
Yeah, I love it.
I have another song, Prairie Girl, titled on here that I did with my wife as a duet with my wife Janet, with a couple of guitars and accordion. I played accordion on here, and a string quartet. And that's just it's a plain and simple love song between a cowboy and his young wife.
Let's listen to some of that.
We don't have nearly enough of those these days. Anytime the subject of love gets mentioned, it's. It gets shoved around quite a bit.
It does. Let's listen to some of that.
As I ride in, it's late, and I canter through the gate. Old Tony's tired, and you can bet I'm saddle sore. As I swing down to the ground, I hear the sweetest sound. It's my prairie girl a-callin' from the ranch house door. I'm just a cowboy riding home.
Now you also have now you and your wife do some have a gospel singing ministry as well, and so on here we have one that's certainly goes back to my days. That's pretty much known to everybody. Just listen here for a moment.
My God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder.
Now, I don't know if I've ever told you, but I don't know how many years ago it was. I was on a cruise up in Alaska, and I had heard that there was going to be the Aurora Borealis that night. And so I actually snuck out. Everybody was going to shows and stuff like that. I went out on the front of this ship, and back then, this particular ship had this rather dark area where you could actually see the sky real well at night. And I was out there alone, and the Aurora Borealis started, and the skies were. You're probably far enough north to see that once in a while, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. See, this was a almost a once in a lifetime thing for me. And if anybody had walked out on that deck that night, they would have found me sprawled on my back, because eventually my neck started to, bother me from looking up so much. I would have been lying on my back, singing "How Great Thou Art" out there in the darkness, looking up at the sky, because that's just how moving a situation was. Now,
I can think of moments like that as well.
Here. Oh yeah, most definitely. So now you are a teacher, yes?
Yes.
And
I teach at a college here. I teach voice, and I have a small private studio as well, in addition to traveling with song and comedy programs.
Exactly. So you are. I've always found interesting your comments and channel as to the less than trained styles of many of the more popular pop singers today, shall we say? But I think sometimes you just like to get a hold of them for just a little while to give them a few pointers, I think, to make things work a little bit better. But
I'm not sure it would matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what they're really looking for.
After all, it's image that drives music these days.
It most certainly is.
If you could sing, that's just a bonus.
Yeah.
But as an engineer would say, we can fix that in the mix.
Exactly. Yeah,
Even
that is the
sing.
problem. You don't get to have engineers to fix things when you're singing live. However,
Nope, not when you're live.
No, not in most places you are. Now, obviously, you have had an interesting turn in what you could have predicted as your life's work many years ago, and the fact that you seem to be the in man to get us to the big man. Now, you seem to have had an in somehow with this with the biggest name that I know of, and in fact, I would challenge anybody to show me a bigger name in farm music than Mylo Hatzenbuhler. And in fact, I want to make sure, since you got in with him, if anybody wants to get hold of Prairie Memories, how can they get hold of that?
You can look on my website, which is farmboymusic.com.
Farmboymusic.com, and
Yep.
that'll be listed there. But let's be
There's a
honest.
nice store there.
Let's be honest with you, Clyde. You're not the biggest name on farmboymusic.com.
Well, I'm not the first name anyway.
No.
There is this other guy.
There is another guy, and so I just have to ask.
You're right that I know him. He and I are we're very close.
Very close. Yes.
Even right now.
Yeah. And I really don't want you to feel badly about this, but a lot of people have asked me, would you could you see your way clear maybe to see if he's around possibly? Would he?
I don't feel badly about that.
You don't feel badly about that?
Well, Philip found out something and he went and got Andrew. So I guess I can go find Mylo.
If Milo's around, I'll cover for you here for just a second. I know how to stretch things, but
Mylo, telephone.
boy, you can tell they are in North Dakota, can't you? When was the last time any of us did that? We all have cell phones now.
Hey, Lois, that you?
Oh, hey, Mylo Hatzenbuhler. Hello,
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
You caught me at the right time.
I did. What?
Yeah, I'm done with morning milking, and afternoon milking hasn't started yet.
Oh, well, of course
But
not.
this is great.
But now, Mylo, it's been very cold recently. How do you milk cows when it's so cold?
You keep buckets of boiling water in the barn.
Oh.
It helps with the humidity too, so there's a side effect.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a pot of boiling water on the stove for humidity just this morning. It helped out a lot.
Well, that's a good idea. And my wife, Emma, she's resourceful around the farm. You have to deal with weather when you're on the farm, especially with dairy cows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to keep them comfortable because agitated milk is no good for anybody. You know that.
In fact, that could lead to cheese eventually, I think,
Yeah,
possibly.
and you know what my wife, Emma, she knitted. You know what she made?
I
Udder
have
cozies.
Udder cozy.
Udder cozies.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the cows like them.
I bet they do. Do you
If
name?
you've ever seen a cow smile, and you have to work with them for quite a while before you can recognize it. But if you've ever seen a cow smile, you will then when we put those cozies on.
Oh yeah, but also seeing a cow smile, isn't that sort of like depending on what angle you're looking at them? Doesn't that sort of? And never mind.
It depends.
It depends. I bet it does. Now, Mylo, you are known around the world as just the number one name in farm boy music.
They don't come bigger than me.
No, they they do not. Especially with some of the songs that we have heard from you. Walking till my pants will fit again, and things like that.
That's a good song.
It is a good song.
Yeah.
And
I ate all the stuffing. Now my waistline is puffing. So give me a call. We'll go to the mall and walk until my pants will fit again. That's a good song.
It is a good song.
Yeah.
And now you have an entire Christmas album.
I do. I have several different recordings, and if you look on the website there, farmboymusic.com, then you can check them out. And my latest one, so far, is a Christmas album, a very Mylo Christmas, it's titled.
Now I have to admit, it came out shortly after it came out, I played a particular song for my mother. Now, my mom passed away almost 4 years ago now, but I played this song for her. And since she had lived in Minot, North Dakota. Do you know where Minot is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's north of here, but still south of Canada.
Right. And it's
not too late.
It gets really cold there. And
it's colder than Strasbourg.
She lived there for a while, and so she loved this song. And just about 2 weeks ago, I had this playing on my iTunes list, and it came on, and my wife started dancing in the kitchen. I mean, that's pretty unusual.
Ooh.
So I just thought you might want to know that your music has been greatly appreciated.
I thought you were Baptist, though.
Well, she kept one foot on the floor at all times. So
that's a relief.
That's what, are Lutherans allowed to do something other than that?
Lutherans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You should see what Lutherans do. I
Okay.
They don't have any rhythm. They're always behind the beat.
Oh.
Yeah, that starts when they sing hymns, and it goes onto the dance floor, too.
Okay.
They're always behind. So if it's a one and a two with Lutherans, it's more like a two and a one.
Okay.
Yeah, really. It's tough to follow.
I will try not to get into any...
And don't start me on waltzes with them.
No, I won't. I promise.
You can throw that third beat out altogether.
Okay, I will. Anyways, let me just give folks an idea of what I'm talking about here, because this may be one of your most up-tempo songs ever. I mean, this is really it's a dancing number, isn't it?
There's times on the farm when you need speed.
Like when?
And that translates into my songs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When you're gathering eggs, for example.
Well,
or when you rinse your clothes out in the stock tank and you got to go pick them up.
Well, that's true.
Dry,
that's
and
true.
It's cold out.
Right. That's true.
There's all kinds of time. And harvest time. You don't waste any time at harvest.
How about if you're trying to keep away from Mylo when his tractor won't stop?
That's another one. You run fast then.
You run very fast then.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
right.
I have listened to your music, Mylo. I hope that touches.
I can tell.
I hope that touches your heart, because I'm speaking.
That's loyalty, and that touches me. It does.
It is.
My heart, Shiva's warmed.
Okay. Well, let's listen to this song, because I just think it's absolute genius on your part, and given
it's nice
the weather.
Of you to know this. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
It's nice of you to know this.
Yeah, well, other
Thanks.
people have noticed too. There are many. I get notes all the time from people who want me to have Mylo on again and again. So
yeah, you should see the things they say to me. It's great.
That's true. Believe me, I know how that works too. Anyhow, here is the great Mylo Hatzenbuhler with one of the most appropriate songs for this particular time of year, winter in North Dakota.
Oh yeah.
I gotta go out and plug in the car. We live in North Dakota, and we will until we're dead. We farm in North Dakota. Do your chores and go to bed. Ooh. We got all 4 seasons: summer, winter, spring, and fall. Oh, winter is the coldest and the longest of them all. Get your long johns, put your hood up, and pull your cap down low. Have your skin all covered up when in the snow you go. You'll freeze your little toe. Oh, snow is on the way. Winter in North Dakota. It won't melt till May. Winter in North Dakota. Oh, please don't get me wrong. There's no place I'd rather go to. But winter's 8 months long, living in North Dakota. Come on! My engine won't turn over when it's winter in North Dakota.
Now, Mylo, I've got to ask you a question here.
I'm still grooving.
I've got to ask you a question. Do you ever get the original artists to these songs? Do they ever contact you and say anything to you?
Original artists? That's me. I'm the original artist. I've heard there's copycats out there, but they can't duplicate my efforts.
No, I actually would probably agree with you. about that. No one could really write these lyrics who had not just really experienced winter in North Dakota. I mean,
you guys know about farming, and if you live up here, that helps too.
No, that's true. That's true.
Winter, we had. We don't have snow all the time. This summer, record rains.
Yeah, well, I heard about that.
We had twice the rain we usually do. I'm not kidding. Twice the rain in Strasbourg.
I wish we had some of that here.
Yeah, there was 1 week we had 3 rainstorms every other day, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 13 inches total.
Woo.
Of rain. After that last rainstorm, all the parts of my cows that face north had moss on them.
You don't move your cows around a lot?
Cows only go so far when it's that muddy.
Well, this is true. This is I see. I'm just from the desert.
They get high centered sometimes. You know, that doesn't just happen with pickups.
That's the high center, or with the president's limo in a foreign nation. But that's another issue. Yeah, that was sort of embarrassing. That was a little while ago. Now, there's one other song I wanted to let everybody know about here on your Christmas
on the Christmas album.
On the Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
I just wonder what kind of thought process went into coming up with this particular song here.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Country farming can be charming, especially at milking time, when the herd wanders in with its payload. Every single cow goes chingle from the bell round her neck, and as they leave the pasture, you hear heifer bells, heifer bells, it's milking time in the county. Ring-a-ling. They're coming. Here they come. We know the herd's on its way.
Now, I got to ask you, Mylo, are you doing your own piano accompaniment there?
Oh, yeah, and not just piano, but that one. I play all sorts of musical incidents.
Okay, well.
I play there's the piano, like you said, is on there. I play according, too.
Uh-huh.
Also.
Wow. So
I've been known to play other things.
So this is like a multi-track thing.
Sort of, yeah. Well, I have the rest of my band is on there. You heard my bag-up singer there. That's the Cowtones.
I did. The Cowtones.
The Cowtones,
okay.
The ladies trio, the Cowtones.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then my rock band that travels with me on the road sometimes. My bag-up players, the Crop Failures. That's them. Yeah, they have there's the goiter, and then there's the bass goiter, and then there's the drum.
Wow. I didn't know what I don't even want to ask what a goiter is because I have a different definition of that one. But now you have other
there's 6 ropes, and they're all different notes.
Okay.
And then on the end is gear pulls.
So now you were famous, of course, prior to your Christmas album, and am I guessing correctly, Mylo, that this is probably your most famous song right here?
Held in
place whoa, stop. That's actually the one we just listened to, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. I had found it, and I clicked on it. Here we go.
In a little while from now, after I fix the plow, I promised myself I'd get cleaned up and take a trip to town. I'm not going to the cafe, it's not that time of day, and I don't need parts, so I won't be going to the John Deere dealer. I'm headed for the bank, on my knees to ask for money, because my crops all failed again, even though it's sunny. When you farm like me, then you always need a loan again. Naturally,
Okay, I've just got to ask you, Mylo, and I'm a little concerned about the answer, to be honest with you. But
Hang on, I'm wiping away a tear.
oh, okay. Well, so are we.
That one always gets me.
Oh, it does to me too. But
Or maybe it was lunch. I'm not sure.
but
Well, we have special treats this time of year, you know.
but Mylo, when you're listening to
Yeah.
what we might call normal music, is your mind always drifting off to stuff like this?
I write about what I know.
Yeah,
It's the simple thing.
it is. But
Yeah,
alone again,
well,
I mean,
when something happens around Strasbourg, I write about it.
yeah.
That's plain. That's plain, and that's what I do.
So
Like when my neighbor retired, put all his land in CPR, and he moved into town. I
yeah,
wrote the song "Rust in the Bins." All he has is rust in the bins. See, I write these songs.
yes, I understand.
Yeah, and then I wrote the time I lost at solitaire. I wrote a song about that.
You lost at solitaire?
I did. I see a red card and I want it to turn black. I wrote that song.
You did.
I write all those songs. And then my song about the time I dreamed when my house was gone. I wrote my big hit song, So Bye Bye, Mr. Dairy Farm Guy. See you later, separator, kiss your milk pail goodbye. But my poor old bull could only stand there and cry, singing, this'll be the day that I die. Yeah. This'll be the day that I die.
Yes.
See, that's real life.
It's real life.
Those other rock stars, they make that up.
You know,
Not me. I stand alone.
yes,
Most
Mylo,
of the time.
you stand alone most of the time. Yes,
That's right.
There's just one last one, and I've got to let you go. I realize you probably have legions of adoring fans outside your door just waiting
Well,
to.
no, I got a press conference this afternoon.
Right. That's what I figured.
I
But
got to talk to the local radio and let them know what the news is. They rely on me.
But there does seem to be times when the music that you use sounds just almost exactly like something I've heard someplace else, but the words are strangely different. For example,
Like I said, there's copycats everywhere.
well, but
They're riding on my shirt tail.
But this one's from a long time ago because this was big in my youth. Let me play a section of this for you here so you can see what I mean. Because
Ooh, doopy doop doopy, and we're driving our pig up to Lemon. Oh, when we cross the border, oh, the tires all have air. In the back, there's a spare, and my papa made sure that the oil's changed. We brought something to drink and a road map, I think, and it's winter, so we brought a shuffle.
So I just wonder, Mylo, it sounds so like some other song that I've heard before. But you're saying that they were just taking that from you.
They copy me all the time.
They do. Wow.
And that's a good song.
It is.
Anytime you go to South Dakota, you should write about it. That's what I say.
I'd like to go to either North or South Dakota. I just can't
You
find
can
it.
come here. We would love to have you here. It's great.
Yeah, but
You know what you could do?
what?
Have me open for you when you speak.
That would be an amazing collaboration.
Now, you see what would happen? I would draw all the young peoples,
Right.
and then I'll set them up for you.
And I'll draw the old people.
There we go.
And maybe I could get Ivy Connerly to come along. We could do
We'd
some.
have
some
when they talk about different parts of the calligraphy, you'd have that calligraphy.
Right, that stuff, right. Well, look, so Mylo, just I'm sure that your manager has emphasized this for you, but you need to make sure that everyone knows where they can avail themselves, not only of your Christmas album, but these other albums with Pick Up to Lemon, Return to Slender, Crop Dusters in the Sky. Now that one,
that's a great song.
That's a great song, but see, I used to play big band music And if they borrowed that from you, you have to be about 107 years old.
Well, I don't look it. We German farmers, we age slowly.
Very slow.
We're long livers in my family.
Well, it's because of the cold. You're preserved real well.
Well, that helps, plus hard work.
Yes.
There's no substitute for hard work.
None whatsoever.
That's true. There's always more to do on the farm.
Which includes letting everybody know how they can get hold of your music, where they need to go.
Yeah, you go to my website. That's the best way. Farmboymusic.com.
Farmboymusic.com.
We have those digital things there.
Right.
Yeah, or you can order CDs through the mail if you like that way.
Right.
And
Now,
that digital thing, you can get one song at a time, or you can get the whole thing, whatever you want. Like the great songs you mentioned, I got more, because there's 5 different Mylo Hatzenbuhler albums.
including one that has the song "Who Let the Hogs Out."
That's right, I rap.
You do.
I am down for the struggle, especially when there's pigs concerned.
Because
they are a struggle.
They are.
Yeah, the pigs got in the house. That's when I wrote that song.
And they all seem to come from life. So I guess you have a good.
Well, that's for sure. Like my song, "My Dog's Got Rabies." I sang that. The song about my wife and I cleaning the barn, just you and I cleaning the barn together. That's a good one.
That's a good, and "White Shade of Pale" too.
A Whiter Shade of Pale. That's a milking song.
It is.
That's a great one.
Under the Cow, Hens with
song
Low
about
Faces.
Yeah, my wife killed the rooster, so I've got hens with low faces. I sang that. The time we went fishing together, Mylo's in the stream. I wrote that. My theme song, "Born to be Wide." That's a good one too.
Oh, Mylo, your way of looking at life is truly refreshing. So I really thank you. And by the way, please thank that other fellow whose music you can get on Cowboy Music. And in fact, by the way, Mylo, it's very kind of you to allow Clyde to have that little spot there on the website. I think it's very magnanimous of you.
He's answering the other phone for me right now.
I understand.
It rings all day.
I know.
You should hear the things people say. Mylo, come to our town, do a concert. Over and over.
Over all the time. And
they can't get enough of me.
No. And
I went to one town twice in a row because they couldn't get enough of me. And then after that second time, they said, "Okay, we had enough of you now."
Well, Mylo Hatzenbuhler, season's greetings to you, sir, and may all of your concerts be sold out with multiple encores and standing ovations.
Thanks. I got a concert in Bismarck, North Dakota tonight, and then Saturday I'm going to Montana.
Wow, boy, I'll tell you. I hope the weather stays nice for you, and everybody will enjoy their time with you. Thank you, Mylo.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mylo Hatzenbuhler. Thank you.
Okay, Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know how long it's been. It's been at least 2 years, maybe 3, since we had the wonderful opportunity of having Mylo on the show. So, look, you can't get names like that big very often. So we have to take them as they come. So thank you very, very much, Mylo. And farmboymusic.com is where you can go, and there's samples you can listen to there. If all the samples I played today weren't enough for
I think his accent wore off. It's farmboymusic.com.
Farmboymusic.com. What, did I mispronounce it or something? What?
Yeah, you got a little bit of something going on there. It's not quite coming out right.
A little German there or something. I still can't imagine the mindset that can allow you to come up with "alone" again, LOAN again. He just looks at the world in a different way than the rest of us. It's clearly comic genius, and so I send you over there because Clyde's a good brother in the Lord, and if you want to meet him in person, you have to finally take the dive and join that chat channel because he hangs out in there with the rest of us crazy people. He's in there right now, in fact. So. Anyways, thanks for joining us there, Mylo, whoever you might be. By the way, I do want to make this announcement. I have forgotten to do it until now. But next month, on the 7th of January, I will have a special guest on the program. And no, it's not Mylo. Mylo might have something to do that day. Dr. Michael Kruger, the newly installed president of Reformed Theological Seminary in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the author of some of the most amazing books over the past couple of years on a number of issues, especially the subject of the canon of Scripture. Dr. Kruger will be my guest on January 7th. And I'm going to play, I hope I haven't lost it. I'm pretty certain I still have the file. But I am going to play, I might play the whole call the day before, the week before, so you have a background to it. But I'm going to play a call that I happened to catch. I was driving home early December, maybe. No, it might have actually, no, it was November. Early November. I was driving home, and I tuned in Catholic Answers Live. I do a little research there once in a while, too. James Swan does most of that these days, but I caught it. And sort of got in on right toward the beginning. It had already started, but a conversation with a Lutheran, or as Mylo would say, a Lutheran, on the subject of Sola Scriptura. And as I was listening, I just couldn't help thinking, I've got to send this to Dr. Kruger, because he wrote his book on the canon. He's now written 2 books on the canon. And, of course, Heresy of Orthodoxy. I think if you get someone, we have the Heresy of Orthodoxy in the Alpha and Omega Ministries bookstore. If you want my suggestion for the single most important book, now I'm saying this as an author who just put a book out this year, so Bethany House is going to shoot me. But the single most important book to give to your pastor, to make sure your pastor has, your elders have, your Bible study teacher, a student going to university, Heresy of Orthodoxy is the one to get. We have it through the bookstore. And if you want to throw in my book on the Quran too, why not? They make a nice matched pair, something like that. But seriously, Heresy of Orthodoxy is a tremendous book. He is not the author; that he's the editor, along with others. He's not the only author involved with that. But as I listened to this Catholic Answers Live call, I thought, man, I got to get Dr. Kruger on the program, and he's just so busy that was the earliest we could do, was January 7th. So put that on your calendar. Michael Kruger will be joining me. We're going to be talking about Sola Scriptura. When he wrote his book on the canon, he had no idea that most of the pushback he was going to get were going to come from Roman Catholics. But there's a reason for that. That's just the way it is. Real quickly, and if I have to go a minute or two over, I don't want to rush this too much, but very quickly, for those who are interested in this area, major developments in Mormonism. An article is now found at lds.org/topics/race-and-the-priesthood. Race and the Priesthood, and that's the title of it, Race and the Priesthood. Mormonism is in trouble. There is just absolutely no way to avoid saying Mormonism is in trouble. Things are changing rapidly in Salt Lake City. And I just wonder how long the very widely divergent groups that are under that one banner can stay together. There is a 2,000-word statement that has been posted on the LDS Church website in regards to race and the priesthood. It is a bit of a whitewash, to be honest with you. It tries to spin things. There are no citations of the real statements from the church leadership that explained the reason why blacks cannot hold the priesthood. It basically tries to say, well, it basically throws Brigham Young under the bus and said he was a product of his time period, of the racial America at that particular point in time. What concerns me about this is there are just so many statements, not only in the sermons of Brigham Young, but even in the text of the LDS scriptures themselves. For example, in 2 Nephi chapter 30, verse 6, you had a prophecy about the Lamanites that says that scales of darkness shall begin to fall when they repent, and they shall be a white and delightsome people. Now, I remember when that was changed in 1981 to pure and delightsome. It had said white and delightsome up to them. And the fact of the matter is, you can go back and you can find even Spencer W. Kimball, before he was prophet, when he was an apostle, talking about going to Indian reservations and seeing how the children of converts to Mormonism were lighter than their parents in fulfillment of the prophecy of 2 Nephi chapter 30, verse 6. This was not just Brigham Young speculating about things. This was part and parcel not only of the understanding of Joseph Smith, the Book of Mormon, that the black skin was a curse upon the people, but then, even then, what are Mormons going to do with the reality that Brigham Young, standing in General Conference as the prophet of the church, taught these things plainly, clearly, and repetitively, and yet they're going to sit there and say, well, our authority comes from this unbroken priesthood line that comes from Joseph Smith through Brigham Young and all the prophets and apostles of the church. I cannot imagine the Mormons that I would talk to about the fact that Mormonism is the one true church only a few years ago, buying into the idea that a man could stand before the people of God as the prophet and teach falsehood. He even taught that the day that the priesthood is granted to the blacks is the day the priesthood authority is lost from the earth. But now what they're doing is they're basically saying, well, we got to adjust to the times. And so we can say, now they've, I guess, had to come up with some way of saying, well, the priesthood authority can survive what? Can survive false teaching? What was the whole point of the alleged apostasy and the loss of the priesthood in the first place? I just don't know how the Mormon church is going to be able to survive when it has a history and a theology like Mormonism has. We looked just a few weeks ago at the head of FAIR. Utter whitewash of Mormonism's teachings. Complete whitewash. And when your core theology enshrined in your temple ceremonies is an embarrassment to you, wow, what is the future of Mormonism? I don't know. I do not claim to know. But it is an absolutely amazing thing. It truly is. So we were going to keep our eyes on these developments in Mormonism as well, keep you up to date on those things. Once again, thanks to Mylo Hatzenbuhler for joining us on the program today. Lord willing, we will be back again next week. Here on the Dividing Line, we'll see you then. God bless.